The Formula One Worldwide Roadshow returns to Europe for the second half of the season. We are at Manicourt for the French Grand Prix. Hello there. We've had to digest a couple of big stories in the build-up to the Grand Prix. First, the surprising news that Max Mosley, the president of the FIA, the governing body, is to quit at the end of the season. And also that Ralf Schumacher's season could be over. He's broken a couple of bones in his back after that horrendous crash at Indianapolis. Brother Michael told us his feelings as he saw Ralf lying motionless in the BMW Williams.
Started crying, honestly. Then I went on the radio straight away and checked with the team what's going on, what's the story, and then the team, and thanks to as well the BMW people who gave us all the time the latest information, the latest update. So I was permanent in contact with the team. They explained me what's going on, and that was a big relief for me.
And here at Manicourt, Ralf Schumacher is replaced by Williams test driver Marc Gené, the Spaniard, and he made a very decent fist of qualifying. Gené knows that at 30 years of age, it's now or never if he wants to break into the big time. He struggles to cope with different fuel levels and the notoriously quick-changing track, but does enough to make the top 10. Jenson Button makes a late change to his BAR after pre-qualifying, searching for pace and balance. It's a very competitive session, 0.1 seconds covering the top 5, but that's good enough for the second row. Button, the first man, into the 113s. Fernando Alonso emerges from a torrid spell with nothing to show from the two North American races. It's Renault's home Grand Prix. Alonso gives the fans something to get really excited about. He's quickest through the last two sectors. The stability in the high-speed corners, absolutely crucial. That is a super lap. Great encouragement for David Coulthard and the upgraded McLaren. Coulthard searching for an F1 employer next season. He's won round here and unleashes the best qualifying run of the season. DC starting alongside Button. Michael Schumacher's a 6-time winner of the French Grand Prix. He's quickest in the first sector and right in contention in the second. But an error late on at Chateau d'Eau means Alonso's third career pole. That's super for Renault, 25 years after their first F1 victory with Jean-Pierre Jabouillet at Dijon. Alonso and Michael Schumacher up top. Then an all-British second row, Coulthard and Button. Trulli's a big favourite in France. Montoya, quickest in pre-qualifying, he starts 6th. Sato, now the most successful Japanese driver of all time. Then Gené, Raikkonen, Barrichello only 10th. He had to run first in qualifying after an hydraulics problem. Panis, the only Frenchman, he's got a miserable record here. Fisichella in the spare Sauber after crashing in practice. Then teammate Massa, the Jordans, Baumgartner boosted by that precious point for Minardi at Indianapolis. It's 70 laps of super smooth Manicourt, the best of the French Grand Prix, with Martin Brundle and James Allen.
Very slow green light or green flag lap. There are the Renault fans neatly installed on the start-finish line near the Renault cars, but very slow. And that's exactly what a Michelin runner needs to do on pole position, which of course Alonso is, to give him a better chance of beating Michael Schumacher into turn 1. Alonso on the racing line. In fact, he's just slightly left of the racing line. The curious way they go down the pit straight.
Keep an eye on Trulli in the second Renault as well. Both Renaults start well. Let's go! Racing at Manicourt in France. One of the Saubers takes a jink. Look at Button coming through. That Trulli alongside Button. Looks like he's going to pass him on the inside. Everyone looks like they got safely away. It's Alonso, Michael Schumacher, then Trulli up to 3rd place. Button down into 4th. Montoya up there in the mix as well. Where is David Coulthard in all of this? He's behind Jenson Button. So not a great start for Coulthard or Button. And as I say, watch out for Trulli, and he's gone and lived up to expectations.
Both Renaults away very, very well then, as you say. Trulli again, a Button remaining 4th. Coulthard dropping down to 5th. Montoya 6th. Raikkonen straight up to P7 then already. Sato, Barrichello 9th. Gené 10th. A poor start from the Williams end of Gené. Webber 11th. D'Amato 12th.
Yes, it's always very interesting to see the drivers that slide back at the start. Marc Gené dropping 2 places, as Martin says. Obviously, it's been a while since he's done a Formula One start. It does all tend to happen pretty quick around you, but no question about who the leader is. It's Fernando Alonso, who won from pole position in Hungary last season. On that occasion, he was trying to beat Michael Schumacher, who had all kinds of problems on the day and wasn't able to fight him. And look, they're already dropping Trulli in third place. Coulthard and Button look like they're getting stuck into each other for fourth.
And the reason that happened is because Button had a go at Trulli on the exit of the Imola chicane into Chateau d'Eau and held himself up and gave Coulthard a run at him. He's now been held up with that overtaking attempt. Meanwhile, Trulli and Michael Schumacher, Michael Schumacher comfortably out front. Here we go for a replay. Watch Coulthard away slowly, just going underneath your picture now. And in the background, nobody getting into each other on the line. Everybody away, except, look, a Toyota there, Panis, very slow away. And he is 20th in the field of the 20 runners.
Yep, home Grand Prix, oldest man in the field and the only Frenchman. Just look at the advantage. Trulli on the right-hand side there, now alongside Button, up into third place he goes. What an advantage that start system of the Renault is. Here we are on board with Trulli.
Well, it means they can afford to run more fuel during qualifying, knowing they're going to take a couple of rows, or one row at least, and sometimes two before they get down to the first corner. Remember, Trulli it was, wasn't it, at the Spanish Grand Prix, had an amazing start from fifth on the grid to be having a look at the lead. Alonso then, fastest man on the track last time around by a fraction from Michael Schumacher. His lead, 1.2 seconds. He knows how to stay in the lead of a Grand Prix though, doesn't he? We've seen him very calm in the head before now.
Certainly seems very calm. Let's see what it looks like on board with Michael Schumacher coming down the hill then. Of course, the revised final corner sequence here in Magny-Cours used to be really an amazing corner, the Lycée. Now they've straightened it out and put this rather aggressive chicane in with curbs which have caught drivers out this weekend. Giancarlo Fisichella in the Sauber found his suspension breaking as he attacked those curbs a little bit too viciously. Across the line then to complete the third lap. Michael Schumacher is the fastest man on the course at the moment. His last lap, a 1:16.3, and this is quite a pace, Martin, they're going at.
It's an amazing pace. The lap records are 15.5. Of course, they still have a lot of fuel on board, and it is hot. This is a track that gives up a lot of grip with temperature. We've seen it over the years, and luckily it works the other way around as well. But it really is a circuit, of course, with Parc Fermé conditions, a lot less track time than they're used to because of the rain so far this weekend. A lot of these cars will not be in optimum setup, optimum conditions, James. So the drivers will be trying to do anything they can inside the car with differential programs, and then also talking to the crew if they want to have some front wing changes at their first pit stop.
Well, the French TV director enjoying the moment of a French car, Renault leading the French Grand Prix. Behind all of this was a tremendous scrap for 6th, 7th and 8th places between Montoya in the Williams, Raikkonen in the McLaren and Takuma Sato in the BAR. Those three absolutely together on the racetrack. And also Rubens Barrichello joining in that scrap as well. So hopefully we'll see about that. I wonder whether Montoya is actually holding them up. No, he's not. His pace is pretty strong. He's lapping in the low 1:17s. The leader's lapping in the low 1:16s, and that's a pass there between Heidfeld, it looks like, and Panis going around the outside.
Yeah, that'll be down at Adelaide. Hairpin. Panis will have had a good run down the straight, tried to go around the outside, didn't make it stick. So he remains in 18th. He's past the two Minardis, but he's 18th and trying to pass 17th place man Heidfeld. Alonso's lead now up to 1.4 seconds. That's looking handy. The gap down to 0.6 of a second then. Alonso leads from Michael Schumacher, Trulli third, Button fourth. Coulthard keeping in touch with Button in fifth. Then Montoya, Raikkonen and Barrichello having a good fight. Sato, Webber is 10, Genet 11th, D'Amata 12th. Then Klein in the second Jaguar, Massa and Fisichella 14 and 15, very close together, probably on two stops. Then it's Pantano, Heidfeld. Panis is still behind Heidfeld in the Jordan. A lot of talk in the paddock. Eddie Jordan has sold the team, a big chunk of the team, to some new partners, so maybe we can look out for an announcement on that in the near future, but that's certainly a very strong rumour in the paddock just before the Grand Prix started.
Yep, certainly linked with Middle East consortiums over the last few weeks, and well, the Jordan team certainly could do with a bit of a cash injection to boost their competitiveness. The two drivers, Pantano and Heidfeld, pushing hard as Michael Schumacher gets the car slowed down. That's why he was being so aggressive. He's right underneath our commentary position. He comes into his box, inch perfect. They practice this so many times, these teams.
we've got a race, James. That's great news that Michael is in before Alonso, because that obviously meant he was carrying less fuel. Raikkonen's in too, in the McLaren from 8th place. So it's a genuine pace that we're seeing from Fernando Alonso. He was carrying more fuel. I wonder if he'll pit this time. Let's hope not. Then we've got a seriously good fight. Raikkonen departs as De Mata enters the pits. They were almost getting in each other's way. Genet away too. Coulthard pits too from what is currently 4th place. Ted is down there.
The stop is going well, but David Coulthard did overshoot by just a bit. I believe that Juan Montoya is also making a stop this lap. Actually, no, he's not. And that's a smart move from Williams, because Montoya and Coulthard were very close together on the track. They're giving Montoya one more lap to see what he can do.
And that's Button, who hasn't pitted yet, going through back markers. So critical stage of the Grand Prix then, as to who can get their in and out laps sorted out, and good stops. Coulthard rejoins the racetrack, as does Barrichello. I'm sure we're going to see some position changes there. Meanwhile, we have a Renault 1-2.
Yep, and a Jenson Button 3. And as he said, he's carrying a little bit more fuel than the guys up front. He could be sitting in the pound seats. He needs to up his pace a little bit at the moment, though. He's faster than Trulli, who's in 2nd place, and he's just over a second behind Trulli. But the bad news for Jenson is he's now 8 seconds behind Alonso after that opening stint. They can see the Renault mechanics getting ready. This is a very important time in this Grand Prix, probably for Trulli then, I'd imagine, because Alonso is going through to complete another lap. The Renault guys look like they were just getting themselves set up rather than they waited. No, Trulli right in now. Trulli has come into the pits underneath us. And so that's Trulli out of 2nd place. Button goes up into 2nd then, but he's just over 8 seconds behind Fernando Alonso at the moment.
We've got a serious race on our hands this afternoon. The Ferraris and the key Michelin runners have all got roughly the same pace, just slightly stuttering away there for Montoya, and he's in a critical battle with Barrichello and Raikkonen. We'll see how it unfolds. I'm watching Michael Schumacher doing a 1:16.8, stuck in traffic behind Takuma Sato. As you pointed out, James, that slightly earlier stop for him has put him into traffic and is costing him about a second a lap. Expect Alonso to remain in the lead if he has a clean stop.
Certainly should do. He's managed to pass Mark Webber, has Michael Schumacher, but he's now up behind Takuma Sato and finding it a bit tricky to get past him at the moment. You can see feverish activity down the pit lane. That looks like Pantano and Olivier Panis that were battling towards the back of the field. 16th and 18th places, those two. Is Alonso going to pit this time? Yes, indeed he is. The race leader comes in. Ted, take it away.
This one is going to be seriously close, and it's happening right in front of me. The Renault boys get to work. Fernando is slightly short into the box, but there's no problem connecting the fuel hose. About 45 k's of fuel. Oh, but he's got an obstruction from the BAR. He manages to get out, just avoiding it.
Yes, I think it kind of worked okay. Looked like he slowed down a lot. The Ferrari's just caught my eye going down the pit straight. Alonso will come out in the lead as long as he doesn't cut that white line, which he has not done, it seems to me, from this long shot. There's Schumacher in the background, and yes, it worked out very nicely indeed for Fernando Alonso. And is that Jenson Button?
That's Sato, you see. He's got Sato between himself and Michael Schumacher. Button has just made a stop. Yep. That is great news for Fernando Alonso, because Michael Schumacher has got to get past Sato before he can even think about attacking Alonso. We believe from our F1 ITV pit crew down there that Sato will be making a stop next lap, which is pretty consistent with Button having just made his first stop of the afternoon. They normally come in a lap apart, and so having made a stop, Alonso leads this Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher is behind Sato in 2nd place, but we're expecting, as I say, Sato to come in. And, well, when it all shakes out, we'll see who the winners and losers were from the first round of pit stops. But that fractionally early stop for Ferrari for Michael Schumacher was not the hot ticket on the day.
Jaguar up to 5th and 7th then. They're not yet stopping. Presumably they're going to stretch it out to a 2-stopper. We'll see when they come in. Looking forward to driving that car in Regent Street on Tuesday afternoon. Formula 1 parade there. Jaguar very kindly invited me to have a go in there. Car, so that should be good fun. Meanwhile, Sato has pitted then, so that'll release Michael Schumacher. Webber pits in the Jaguar at the same time. All action down there.
Yeah, that's good news for Jarno Trulli, who was behind Mark Webber at the time, so he will resume, I think, in 3rd place. And you can see that Alonso took a long time, half a lap, to get past that Minardi. That will have cost him. He was trying to get him into the first corner, and it took him until halfway around the circuit to make it stick. So will have lost him a bit of valuable time. Let's see how long it takes Michael Schumacher to get past him. There's another Minardi as well in the way. There is Schumacher, you see. Bruni is now in front of Alonso. It's Baumgartner here coming into the clutches of Michael Schumacher, who's going to encounter him at right in the middle of the fast chicane. He's probably going to have to... Oh, he's got past him already, so... Michael Schumacher very committed here then in the pursuit of Alonso. Well, we're looking at some smoke coming out of the back of a Honda. That's not an unfamiliar sight this season. Poor El Sato lost 3 engines already this year, and that looks like number 4 Honda blow-up of the season for Sato. Why is it always his car? Very, very strange. The Honda engineers have no idea either. It's nothing to do with the way he drives it, they believe. It's just one of those things. But 4 times now in a season, you'd have to say, is more than sheer coincidence. And outside my window, Juan Montoya has spun in the final chicane. TV will pick it up. There it is. Montoya was running in 6th place, and you can see he's dropped down. That's Massa, who was 8th, and Raikkonen, who was 9th, going past him. So that's an expensive drop there for Juan Montoya. Alonso leading them by 3.7 from Michael Schumacher. Trulli is 3rd, 8 seconds behind the race leader. Just over a second behind him is Jenson Button. Lap times at the moment consistent once again with Jarno Trulli. Still slower than the front 2, as they were in the first stint, as we take another look at Juan Montoya there, doing something we saw Rubens Barrichello do last year and a number of drivers do. Montoya 9th at the moment. Webber is down in 10th place. Alonso still leading then, as Raikkonen has a go at Felipe Massa. This is the battle for 7th place. Massa is due to make a stop at some time soon. He's one of the only 2 cars out in the field that's not pitted yet. Not this time then for him. Raikkonen through, up into 7th place then for Kimi Raikkonen, who lost some time in the first round of pit stops. And you can see a terrific scrap developing here in the midfield battle between Raikkonen, Massa and Montoya, as the other Sauber of Fisichella comes in 11th place. At the front, though, very intriguing between Alonso and Michael Schumacher. Alonso still 3.5 seconds ahead of Schumacher, with Trulli and Button just over 6 seconds behind them. Ted, what can you tell us?
I've been into Williams, James. Juan Montoya has been complaining about the balance of the car, the handling of the car all race, and on both sets of tyres. It's terrible. I can't tell you the language apparently he's been using to describe it, but he doesn't think it's anything wrong that made him spin it. They think he just hit the curb too hard.
Okay, then Montoya struggling, and it's clear to see, isn't it, as he's squabbling around in the midfield. He's 9th at the moment with a lot of work to do, and he cannot pass the Sauber of Massa. Meanwhile, it's given Raikkonen a nice bit of free air up the front, and Montoya going in way, way too deep as well. So a really untidy race from him this afternoon.
Well, Jenson Button sitting in 4th place at the moment. His fellow countryman David Coulthard just behind in 5th. Look at this scrap though, as Massa peels into the pits. Webber is definitely on the pace of this Williams, and his lap times, Webber, have been very consistent, but they've all been held up a little bit in that battle as Massa comes in from 9th. And there you can see Juan Montoya going wide at the Nürburgring chicane. He was not the first man to go up on that green rumble strip there this weekend. Everybody pretty much has been up there. It's where you go when you try and carry a bit too much speed into the Nürburgring. And now look at the margin here. It seems Schumacher is closer than ever.
Yeah, at least Alonso's not giving it big smoky brake lock-ups into the corners, but he's still losing half second a lap. Louise is down with the very unfortunate Takuma Sato.
Very unfortunate, once again an engine failure, and once again Takuma just after your stop. Is that significant at all?
It was difficult. It's slightly different because I struggled a little bit right beginning the start, and obviously after the pit stop it was a significant power down and the engine didn't last it.
Look at the Ferrari closing up, you see, on that straight line speed.
Raikkonen pits from 7th place, the first of the second stops of the afternoon. There you can see it. Fresh tyres going on, about 50 kilograms worth of fuel going in, and away he goes.
Just tell you a little bit about how that car is different from the car they've been competing in all season, the MP419 that they've put to one side. This is the 19B. It has very different side pods, completely different rear end, new rear suspension as well. The drivers say that it's much kinder to the tyres on the long runs in a race. It's easier to drive, it's more predictable, and certainly in Coulthard's hands, he believes he's able to brake. He's much more confident on the brakes, which was where a lot of his lap time and speed comes from. So certainly a good debut so far for the McLaren. It's 5th in the hands of Coulthard and 7th in Raikkonen's hands. But as you can see, still 42 laps to go as Schumacher makes the earlier stop again.
Not a good day for Williams, though. They're down in 8th and 10th at the moment, with Montoya 8th, Genet 10th, and way off the pace it seems. So the changes haven't worked too well for them. They do seem to have some pace in there if they can only find it. This man certainly has got all the pace he needs at the moment, but he just has to keep stopping for fuel before the Spaniard. Coulthard pits too, so both McLarens then have made their second stops. There he is. And the nozzle again, three-quarters of a second slow coming out, but he's away.
Once again, Schumacher's emerged with some traffic to deal with. It's in the form of Panis, Massa, Fisichella in front of him.
Ooh, a little bit wide there for Alonso, just having to edge the car and just keep it gently on line by turning into the slide and really getting, I think, towards the end of the useful life of this set of tyres. Amazing, isn't it? They're good for about 50 or 60 miles. Look, struggling again in Chateau d'Eau. Alonso's ready for a set of tyres, and this is crucial. He needs great laps at the moment, not difficult laps, if he's going to maintain the lead. We just know how brilliant Michael Schumacher is at this phase of every Grand Prix. He does not pit.
Yeah, he's just 1.4 ahead of Schumacher then before the German made his stop on the last lap. We'll monitor the margin, probably be a lot closer than that. As you can see, Alonso's car sliding, you see it moving? And look at the graining on the right front, Martin.
Yeah, tyres are not looking nice at all. He's had to push hard in this stint. Button pits from what is currently 3rd place.
So, well, he definitely stopped for longer on his first stop, but that wasn't extra fuel that went in. It must have just been a slightly slow stop for Button, so Trulli's still out on the track. Button has made a second stop, so that will not be happening. Ted, what can you tell us?
Tell you what, at Ferrari, they're delighted that McLaren made the stop when they did, and there was that little hesitation on David Coulthard's nozzle, because this gives Rubens Barrichello a great chance to jump him after his next stop.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Barrichello's times. It was a 1:16.5, which is pretty handy, if not spectacular, last time around. And again, a bundle of understeer on the way into the corner, the back end stepping out under power. So, and we're hearing that the Renault team are out in the pit lane, and I hope it's with a fresh set of tyres for this man, but it's not. It's for Jarno Trulli as we understeer and jump our way through the final chicane and run down the ragged edge of the pit straight for the tremendously challenging first, second and third corners here on this Manicourt racetrack.
So at the moment, Fernando Alonso leads the Grand Prix. His teammate Jarno Trulli has just come into the pits. He was 12 seconds behind. Also into the pits comes Rubens Barrichello, who was in 3rd place. These two racing for position. Michael Schumacher was 4th, but with those two pitting, he will go straight up into 2nd place. So Barrichello getting out of his way in the nicest possible way by diving into the pits.
New lap record for Michael Schumacher, a 1:15.4, and you've got Alonso doing 1:16.8. That's already enough to negate the lead that he had. So Schumacher absolutely blisteringly fast at this stage. Montoya away after his second stop. Surely Michael Schumacher has got enough now to come out in front of Alonso. Alonso launches the car into the Imola chicane, just throws it at the corner. But he's in at the end of this lap. We're hearing from the F1 ITV pit crew, and you wonder why they didn't bring him in a couple of 3 laps ago, James.
You'd have to say that because his lap times have been in the high 1:16s, and Schumacher, with a new fuel load, new tyres, has made it work. As you said, a 1:15.4 his last lap, and that should give him the lead over Alonso as the race leader comes into the pits. And we're expecting Michael Schumacher to come down the hill any time now and take the lead away for the first time in this Grand Prix from Renault. They're going to work as fast as they can, It's a fantastic stop, but it won't be enough because Schumacher's blasting down the pit straight, and Alonso will see him in a moment. There he goes, disappearing into the first corner. There is Michael Schumacher. He is the new race leader. And, well, Alonso stayed out a couple of laps, and it didn't work for him. That last lap of Schumacher's a 1:15.3, the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Exactly when he needed it, Schumacher found the speed, and that is why Schumacher is Michael Schumacher, and it's why he's a 6 times world champion.
Yeah, and a new lap record to go with it then, and, well, he just pulls it out when he has to, doesn't he? It's just too easy for him. He's just got speed to spare. And he looked a bit ragged in the first sector of the race, and once again he's gone a bit deep into 180, but he's done enough, hasn't he? It's Alonso struggling on the old tyres, grained right front, lacking in traction, and Michael just punished him. And we're seeing the Ferrari pit crew out underneath our window here. Who's been stopping first of those? It's Michael pits then. Michael Schumacher pits. So that was a short stint, James.
It was indeed a very short stint indeed. Have lost a wheel nut somewhere, have they? No. No, it was a good stop. It was just something that deceived the eye. 6.5 seconds. That's a fantastic stop by the Ferrari pit crew. Michael Schumacher rejoining. Hopefully this time, for his sake, he won't have too much traffic. Just a Toyota there flashing through the frame to worry him in the near future. But, well, he had 4.9 seconds over Alonso, so a comfortable margin.
Well, they obviously short-fueled him. That's why he ended up just so far ahead of Alonso. He was 1.4 down before the last pit stops, ended up 3 ahead, but we know he was doing quick lap times, but they clearly short-fueled him, James, to get race track position and to be able to control this Grand Prix. You always want to try and control it from the front, and that's what they've done with Michael Schumacher, but that was a very short stint.
It was indeed. They must be pretty confident on the tyres then, because they're sending him out for a 28 lap final stint. Or no, they can't be. 6 seconds of fuel. He must be stopping again a 4th time.
That'd be a surprise. Be amazing if he's on a 4-stopper. But if not, as you say, it's a long way to go.
Well, 28 laps. There's no way you can do that with 6 seconds worth of fuel. I mean, 6 seconds of fuel is something in the region of about 45 kilos. That will only get him. 18, 19 laps.
Yep. So, very strange then. I wonder if there was a problem creeping in there, and because that is well early for Michael Schumacher to be making his 3rd stop. But Alonso leads then.
Certainly does. Michael Schumacher 11 seconds behind. You need about 18 or 19 in your pocket to be able to pit and rejoin. Alonso then on the attack once again, putting another lap on Felipe Massa, 12th place in the Sauber. There's been a good scrap between the two Saubers all afternoon. Massa started out in front. Fisichella got past him in the pit stops. Now Massa is back in front again. Really are tremendous battle for honour in that team. We don't see them very often on television, least of all battling each other, but believe me, they are really having a go, and Alonso feels that he could perhaps have led him through a little earlier.
Renault in the pits of Alonso.
Race leader Fernando Alonso comes in for this 3rd stop of the afternoon with 24 laps to go. Ted's down there. How much fuel are they putting in, Ted?
Well, this will give it away. Let's see. The clock is going. Pat Simmons, Renault's engineering chief, has been doing his calculations. Now that looks like that's 8 seconds. He does not have to stop again. They're in with a really good chance here, guys.
He doesn't. Michael Schumacher was 8.7 behind at the time when he came in, so he's comfortably going to retake the lead. And Schumacher will have approximately 9 or 10 seconds in his pocket then, but he's got to make enough of an advantage to be able to pit again to make his 4th, I believe, stop of the afternoon. It's certainly not all over yet, Martin.
No, it's not. I wonder if that was totally intentional, such a short 13-lap stint between stops. It did give him track position. He was pulling some stunning lap times. I wonder if that was totally intentional, whether they didn't get quite enough fuel in at one of the stops, something like that. But Michael Schumacher got the drive of his life then, if he wants to win this one this afternoon. If we're right, he's got to come in again. And if we're not right, I don't understand how they've got enough fuel in it.
Well, absolutely right. He stopped on lap 42, put 6.5 seconds worth of fuel into the car, which is about 17 laps worth. So that brings him in towards the end of the 50s. So very rough maths, as you can imagine. I haven't got Rolf Braun's calculators there, but roughly speaking, he's got about 13 laps to make 10 seconds. That's the challenge in front of Michael Schumacher, with Alonso having just made a stop. Schumacher has been in and out, he's been 5 laps now out on these tyres, and he's lapping in the high 1:15. So we'll be watching the lap times like a hawk, watching to see what Alonso can do. What's the margin at the moment then, as Alonso goes across the start-finish line? 11.5 seconds.
Barrichello is now just a few tenths behind Jenson Button. You'll see him in the background there. So Button under pressure too. So he's looking both ways down the track at the moment. He's hopefully trying to get past Jarno Trulli's Renault, but Barrichello, we know he's got a very fast car underneath him. They're both lapping, let's see, 1:16.3. Good pace.
Well, Button pitted a lap earlier than Trulli last time round, but he put more fuel in. So this is a longer stint for Jenson Button. Is he making it work? That was a cracking lap. His fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far in the high 1:15s. Just what he needed, Martin.
And he was hustling at that time, wasn't he, through the final chicane? He took off. So Jenson, knowing this is a pivotal moment, Trulli's made his stop, but Barrichello's threatening him, and somehow he's got to pull out some stellar laps. Oh no, he's got a downshift, back end got away from him slightly, that'll cost him half second. Montoya pits for the third time too. He was in 6th place, but Button then really on the ragged edge, trying to squeeze a few more tenths out of this BAR Honda.
Certainly is. Well, we saw Coulthard coming out of the pits just before. He did rejoin in front of Raikkonen, but behind Mark Webber. However, the Jaguar has only stopped twice this afternoon, so I don't know whether he has to stop again. I would imagine he does, with 20 laps still to go here. So that will drop Mark Webber out of the points, unless he's on some sort of extraordinary strategy. Juan Montoya has made his 3rd stop of the afternoon as well. As we look at Jenson Button. Where's he going to... BAR are in the pit lane. The Ferrari of Barrichello dives in. Here you can see the mechanics coming out now. Barrichello in then.
Well, Barrichello's in. It looks like Button's tyres are already out of the blankets. So a good stop there for Ferrari. About the right sort of time you'd expect on a 3-stop afternoon. But I wonder why Button's tyres are out of the blankets so early. He's got another 70 seconds before he pits after he goes past the start-finish line. I wonder, they couldn't have been expecting him in. They weren't fully ready for him. Now they are, of course. He's got about a half a lap to do as he heads down to the just 2/3 of a lap to do, actually.
So very important pit stop coming up for Button then. 2 things to watch out for as Webber makes his 3rd stop of the afternoon, which drops him out of the points again. 2 things to watch out for. He was battling Trulli and he was battling Barrichello. If he's been too slow, he'll be passed by Barrichello. If he's been fast enough, he'll pass Jarno Trulli. Quite a lot riding on this stop, really. This is for 3rd place in the Grand Prix. The final podium position.
He did a 15.9, as you pointed out, James, and a 16.1, so his pace has been good. But, will he pit this time? The team have sort of kind of been expecting him for a while, but he will go straight on. Sure, he's got to attack that speed line, and Ted is down there.
This will be very, very close with Jarno Trulli. The tyres have been out of the blankets, as you say, for ages, almost a lap. The Michelin tyres are almost bald. There are no problems with getting the fuel hose on at least. The stop going well so far. He rides the limiter, and he's away. Good. Oh, no, late going away. Decent stop, though, for Jenson.
Well, yeah, but he lost about a second there, didn't he? Surely. Where are Trulli? Where is Barrichello? Out on the racetrack, we can't see from this camera angle. There goes... There's Trulli, so he's not managed to pass Trulli, but can he use these new tyres now when they're at their most effective? There's Barrichello right behind him. The 3 of them side by side. Barrichello goes to make the pass on Button. Can he make it stick? Button not able to get up to speed fast enough to attack Trulli. And Rubens Barrichello takes that 4th position away from Button, but he's fighting back on the outside. No, he can't make it stick. And look how close he came to glory, and look where he ended up. He could have been 3rd, he's now 5th. And Ted has some news for us in the pits.
James, there are a few bits of key information that explain why Michael has done a 4-stop. First of all, he's running a softer tyre than Rubens Barrichello, the softer Bridgestone, and he's also softened up the rear suspension. I noticed on the grid that the torsion bar, his rear torsion bar, was sticking out the back of the bodywork, and a longer torsion bar, Martin, as you know, indicates a softer rear, so that would have made the tyres wear out more. And of course, it's a very short pit lane with a short pit entry. And as I say that, Ferrari are coming out for Michael's 4th and final stop. It's looking good.
That's an urgent decision they've just made, isn't it? They bolted out of their seats, so understandably, because Michael Schumacher's already at the Imola chicane, so just 2 corners to go before the pit lane, and quite clearly they've decided with a 21.7 second advantage, and he's already another half second up on this lap too over Alonso, and that's why they've done it, James. Traffic ahead of them. They've decided, that's why the mechanics bolted so quickly, so Michael doesn't lose time between the Williams and the Jordan.
Well, certainly Alonso has lost time in traffic, and that's what's pretty much finished off his challenge. 21 seconds, so any kind of mistake here will cost him the win, but Ferrari don't make too many mistakes in pit stops, do they? Michael doesn't make too many mistakes. The Ferrari team in general are pretty much like a clockwork operation, and Michael Schumacher should have about 4 or 5 seconds in his pocket. Alonso crosses the line now, and so he's got the length of the pit straight and part of the first corner between himself and Fernando Alonso. That is one of the Jaguars, and Alonso was behind him on the racetrack. Schumacher retains the lead. The 4-stop strategy of Ross Brawn would appear to have worked here this afternoon. The aggressive driving of Michael Schumacher has done the rest.
This could be an important lap. for Jarno Trulli. He's going to get slowed down in the super high-speed stuff by the Sauber of Massa. And is he going to be close enough to him? No, he's not. Actually, Massa's far enough down the road. It's not going to compromise his exit speed. I wonder if it might just compromise Trulli off the corner and give Barrichello a better run. Look, we're going to edge up. You're with Barrichello looking at Jarno Trulli. And Trulli certainly not super fast at that point. He's got in very early into the corner. So Barrichello will try and duck round underneath him, but wasn't quite close enough. And the Sauber doing a good job of getting out of the way.
Yeah, Fisichella didn't want any part of that. Certainly any accusations after the race that he affected the battle for the final podium position. He got right out of it, didn't he, in the hairpin. And these three absolutely together now with just 2 laps to go here in Magny-Cours. Michael Schumacher 10 seconds clear of Alonso in front. 24 seconds behind is the second Renault of Jarno Trulli. So comprehensive beating today by Alonso on Trulli as Barrichello runs a little bit wide there.
Where's Jenson Button? Can he get a look up the inside? Was he close enough? No, sadly he wasn't, as Rubens really, I think, got a little bit caught out by how hard Jarno Trulli braked up there at Chateau d'Eau. The McLaren's now just 3 seconds behind this little group. You'll see him flashing around in the background.
I reckon McLaren will be pretty pleased with this, you know. They might only be 6th and 7th, but they've been on the pace of Ferrari, BAR and Renault in front of them, which by McLaren standards is nothing to shout about, but by their standards of their 2004 season is definitely a significant improvement. So hats off to everyone at Woking that seems to have made some gains here, and hopefully a strong end to the season for the McLaren team. But we've got a strong end to the Grand Prix to look forward to here, because Barrichello looks to me like he really wants to have a go at Jarno Trulli.
Yeah, Trulli, I think, is feeling a bit under pressure now. Rubens has got to think this one through somehow, I think, and not have a scrappy half attempt at it, because he's certainly got, you see all those little things, you're just going to lose 20 metres and it puts you back for half a lap, and he's got to be perfect, and then he's going to get a slingshot, I think, somehow in one of... Oh, he's got one more chance now, hasn't he, down into the hairpin. And I think he blew it just there.
So both Renaults have challenged both Ferraris. Michael Schumacher has got the upper hand over Alonso, but Barrichello has not got the upper hand over Trulli in the other Renault-Ferrari battle. That's the story at the moment as we work the final lap, as Michael Schumacher is going to become a 7-time winner of the French Grand Prix. Another magnificent 7 for him to go with his achievement in Canada. And, well, what a day it's been for Michael Schumacher. What a challenge he was set by Ross Brawn. Go out there and find me some stunning laps, because I want you to make one more pit stop than everybody else here this afternoon. He and Alonso have been in a league of their own, the two of them. And Schumacher backing off, the air horns going. You can hear the Ferrari mechanics are all out on the wall, ready to salute home their hero. Michael Schumacher just got a couple of corners to go. He comes down the hill from Chateau d'Eau. He's done it so many times before. He clinched a world title here back in 2002 in record time. And now he's going to win his 7th French Grand Prix. What a tremendous victory for Michael Schumacher and the whole of the Ferrari team. Ross Brawn on the strategy. What a great win, because this was not an easy one. This one, Alonso and Renault really challenged them, led the first 32 laps of the Grand Prix. Alonso finishes in 2nd place. Renault are happy. Oh, in the final corner, Barrichello is going to get the final podium position. Well, 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 finally the director cut to it. And he nicked it off him in the final, and he's very pleased with himself. And both Ferraris now have done both of the Renaults.
Great strategy, great driving, rock-solid reliability, and Barrichello picking Trulli's pockets to be part of those celebrations. Now, we'll be right back with Mark Blundell's verdict, and we'll be talking to the drivers as well. Now, this French Grand Prix is the oldest race of them all. It dates back nearly 100 years, but nobody can match Michael Schumacher's achievement of winning the French Grand Prix 7 times. 9 races out of 10 then for Michael Schumacher. Alonso's best performance since his win in Hungary. Barrichello 3rd, the only driver to score at every race. Trulli pushed off the podium. Then the Brits Button and Coulthard. Raikkonen, a point for the erratic Montoya, but Mr. Consistency scooping the pot again.
Michael, what did Ross say when he told you, OK, we're going to go for the 4-stop?
Well, I mean, at one point I just asked, OK, how is looking for the strategy? And I think we were several seconds behind target for the strategy. And he just said, OK, man, concentrate and go for it. And so I did. So it worked out in the end. But I think it was as well a favor of the Renault team to adapt their strategy slightly, which did help to our strategy.
Always Ferrari is very strong in the races and always surprise us with a little bit of strange tactic or something. And again today, they won the race in the pits.
That second stint was, I think, the key moment for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you know, even with the three-stop strategy, I think Michael should win this race. He was quicker than us and nothing to do. We had to improve these 2 or 3 tenths to be fighting with them.
The corner on the top, turn 13, I think Jarno slowed down a bit too much, trying to stop me and then going on the power. But I predict a little bit that, and I went on the power just before him. So I was able to get the slipstream. And I don't think he was expecting, because I didn't want to lose the car completely on that. We saw so many crashes of 3000 and the Porsche there, and so I hesitate a little bit on the brake, but then I saw that I had a gap and I let it go completely.
Well, Pat, that was a gutting final lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, completely. I simply can't understand something like that. It looked like he left the door completely open. Unbelievable.
Did he just think Rubens wouldn't get him? Martin Brundle said he looked asleep.
I should be talking to him and see what the problem was.
I had a lot of problems with my car. The handle was really bad, so I was getting away with it, but just to the last corner, Barrichello just dived in. He tried everything possible, and the only option was to finish fourth or nothing. So I think he did a good maneuver. On the other hand, I had a lot of blistering on my rear tires, and that's why I finished fourth.
I'm very disappointed. You know, I don't think we... when I pulled away from the last stop, it went into anti-stall, so it's very disappointing, because we would have easily had third when we came out the pits. So no, it's something we need to look at. It's not the first time it's happened before. It happened in Canada, so we need to work on that, because that's losing us points. I mean, we lost 2 points here and a podium, so very disappointed.
The atmosphere and the team effort we do is exceptional. I mean, there is no luck. We are where we are. It's hard work, and the guys deserve the success.
90 points then, 9 out of 10 for Michael Schumacher. Remember, his own record is 11 wins in a single season. Barrichello maintaining that Ferrari 1-2. Jenson Button feeling the heat a bit from Jarno Trulli. Alonso scoring 8, Montoya 1, and further down, David Coulthard, well, at least he's moved up into double figures. In the constructors, 16 points for the champions, takes them past the 150 mark. Renault scoring 13 at home to increase their lead over BAR. Montoya's point is a pretty poor return, really, for Williams. Both McLarens scoring. I suppose there is some optimism there. Some optimism right at the start of this Grand Prix for the fast-starting Renaults who got away really well, Mark.
The Renaults are unbelievable again. You know, they start off like rockets. There's no other car on the start line where it gets away like they do. Truly made an amazing start. Picks up third position by the time he got round the first turn. The only guy really to have a few problems on the grid was Olivier Panis with a car which didn't get off the line that quickly. But look at this, look, Trulli hooks up, goes by Coulthard, and by turn one he's right round the outside of Button. Button has to back off, he slips down the inside.
Any theories why those Renaults are so good at the start, better than everybody else?
I really don't know. I mean, there's some clever electronics going on for sure, but if we knew that, I think we'd both be rich, Jim.
When we looked inside Fernando Alonso's car, we couldn't believe it. He was soaring that steering wheel all over the place.
He's really working away inside the cockpit, but his style is to put it into the corner very quickly and very early. But what was amazing for me was the amount of steering lock. Watch him go through these corners now. Just keeps pouring lock in, and you'd have to think that the front tyres are just giving up a little bit and just having a little bit too much wear and tear. Whether that's a problem for him, we don't know.
All the theories before this race, Marker. I didn't hear too many people saying, you know, I reckon Michael Schumacher will stop 4 times and win.
I don't think any of us felt that Schumacher was going to stop 4 times, and I don't think Ferrari actually said they were going to stop 4 times. They changed their strategy after the race started. They did that first stop, it was very early, it threw everybody out the sink, and they did that 4th stop, and it really worked out for them. Michael Schumacher drove every single lap as hard as could be, and I think the soft tyres allowed him to do that.
And you can do it here with the pit being the length it is.
Certainly, the pit straight is quite short, and in the pit and out the pit, not a lot of time spent.
We spent a lot of time with Ferrari throughout the weekend. They're just a bit lighter on their toes. They think a bit quicker than everybody else. Ross Brawn just seems a step ahead.
Yeah, those guys are just all forward thinking. They're thinking about one thing, and that's winning. and the whole team is just focused, and you can see it. We've seen every element of it, and it's all working together.
The French director concentrated on those runners. We didn't see too much of Jenson Button. We did see a crucial pit stop, though, when he was trying to get ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Didn't quite manage it, did he?
Yeah, Jenson Button was looking very healthy for another podium, but his pit stop just got slightly held up. He faltered out of it, but what we had here was this combination of out the pits, cooler tyres, because the tyres been out the blankets for a while, couldn't get round the outside of Rubens.
Right at the end of the race, and everyone was jotting down the result and things like that, and Michael was celebrating, and Rubens nicks a podium.
I think Rubens caught a little sleepy Jarno Trulli. You see this move here, Rubens straight down the inside, last corner of the last lap. Trulli makes a little bit of a move, but doesn't block him off hard enough. All he had to do was just run down the inside of the circuit. It would have kept Rubens at bay. Hats off to Rubens Barrichello. Nice move at the right time.
He will giggle every time he sees that, the Brazilian, and Jarno Trulli will never want to see that replay again.
It's a bad dream for him tonight.
Just as we go to Silverstone next weekend, how do you see things, Mark? How do you see the balance of power for a start?
Well, I think Ferrari go there as confident as ever. McLaren are stronger. Williams are strong. But BAR are going there with the strengths as well. I'm looking forward to Silverstone. I think it's going to be a fantastic race.
And you, a member of the British Racing Drivers Club, Silverstone is a sellout. What can we expect from those Brits?
I think we expect a great deal from DC and Jenson Button most of all. Let's hope we have a British win.
Let's hope so. It's always a great weekend. Before next weekend, though, get along to London's West End if you can on Tuesday night, the Formula One parade between 6 and 8 o'clock, and that just whets the appetite for next weekend's British Grand Prix.
Here we go. They're off!
Michael's going to pass you, my friend. You didn't cover him properly.
Wow, what a move by Rubens Barrichello! Yes, Rubens, you are the winner. A brilliant, brilliant drive.
Goes without saying, ITV will be there, qualifying live from 1:10 on the Saturday. We build up to the British Grand Prix from midday on the Sunday, highlights at 11:45. Believe me, the British drivers need your help to put the brakes on Michael Schumacher and Ferrari. Good night.